Thanks for joining us here on News Center Maine Plus and online. I'm meteorologist Ryan Breton with an update on this active weather pattern. Storm system number 1 as of Wednesday evening doesn't look too formidable, but it will grow a little bit as it moves in on Thursday, bringing a quick hitting round of snow. And it's not a lot, but it's really the timing that's problematic, with most of it coming in during the afternoon. Then you've probably heard there is another storm on deck over the weekend, but the pieces of energy that will form this storm are still way out west. One moving into the Pacific Northwest, and look at this big swirl here. This piece will get ingested into it Thursday into Friday, and once this comes on land, we'll have a better idea of the specifics for that storm forecast. But either way, I think we'll get something on Saturday night into Sunday. It's just a matter of how much snow and how far north into Maine the heavier snow gets. We'll break down the Thursday storm first. The timing is the issue here. You can probably get to work and school just fine, but getting home will be an issue. The snow coming in from southwest to northeast as the day goes along Thursday. If you're traveling down into New Hampshire or southern New England, the snow will begin before 10 a.m. there in this blue shaded area. And then the snow begins between 10 a.m. and noon over a lot of southwestern Maine, likely snowing by noon in Portland and likely getting into Lewiston around noon as well. Between noon and 2 p.m. in a lot of central Maine, including Bangor. I think it's snowing in Bangor by 2 o'clock. And then over eastern and northern Maine, it's after 2 o'clock that the snow begins there on Thursday. So we might be able to get a whole day of school in here, especially for some of the high schoolers and middle schoolers that get out earlier. The later dismissals may be a bit of a problem in eastern Maine. But in central and southern Maine, the afternoon evening commute will be snowy, and there will be snow on the ground. Part of the reason for that is it's going to be cold Thursday morning. These are the temperatures at 9 a.m. and we'll be in the teens. So the road temperatures will be cold, the air will be cold, and as the snow begins, even though it's not a lot, it will be able to quickly coat the roads. And the intensity probably ramps up fairly quickly too. You can see at 9 o'clock it's snowing at a good rate over southern New Hampshire and down into the north shore of Massachusetts. By noontime, this getting into a lot of southern Maine, steady snow developing here, even some brief bursts of moderate or heavy snow. Still dry in eastern Maine at noon, but by 2 o'clock we have the snow falling in Bangor, falling on the mid-coast, and we probably already have a couple of inches on the ground over southern Maine by 2 o'clock. This is probably the heart of the accumulation during the mid to late afternoon. By 4 o'clock, it's snowing steadily everywhere, but notice back over New Hampshire, there is a break in the precipitation developing. This is kind of the back edge of the steady snow. It's really only a 6 or 7 hour period of accumulation that we'll have here, but given it will be cold and there will be some decent snowfall rates, it will accumulate quickly during that time, which means travel will be pretty dicey mid to late afternoon into the evening hours. Now by 6 o'clock, it's likely winding down over the seacoast, ending in Sanford. Steady snow still falling from Portland north and east into down east Maine as well. And once the steady snow ends during the evening hours, there could be a little bit of drizzle or maybe a light mix, and the temperatures will likely be below freezing. So there could be a little icy glaze on top of the snow that falls, but 99% of the accumulation will be done by that point. So it's just a little bit of ice on top that may make things a little bit tricky getting around Thursday night. By 8 o'clock, we're ending this in central Maine, eastern and northern Maine, still seeing some snow, but the accumulation ending there by about 10 o'clock. And there will be some snow showers and squalls that continue overnight, particularly in the higher elevations and up north. But over southern Maine, this is done well before midnight, so clean up in time for Friday morning. Should have no issues. I want to show you the hourly snowfall rate. In other words, how much snow you accumulate in just an hour as this comes through. And you can see it ramps up quickly. 10 o'clock in the morning, already getting 1 inch per hour snowfall rates. That's moderate to heavy snow over southern New Hampshire. And it comes in quickly. So even by noon in Portland and Lewiston, we'll have some snow on the ground, and it's snowing at a good rate over western Maine. And the best snowfall rates are through about mid to late afternoon, and then this lightens up toward the early evening. In general, it's a 3 to 6 inch snowfall across much of the state. Not as much moisture over northern Maine, so 1 to 3 inches expected there. And we do think there could be some amounts over 6 inches from the Lakes region of New Hampshire into the Mount Washington Valley, maybe extending into parts of western Maine too. Probably not going to be many 8s, but I could see some 6s or 7s there. So this is likely the jackpot spot where you'll get some pretty good snowfall rates in the afternoon. And even though it's about 6 or 7 hours hours of decent accumulating snow. If you get an inch an hour, that'll get you 6 or 7 inches of snow. But once you get into eastern Maine, it's probably not quite as heavy, so more likely 3 to 6 in the bulk of this blue shaded area here. So that's the Thursday storm. It moves out for Friday. On the back side of it, the wind will be gusty on Friday. We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine. And Saturday looks dry as well. No issues during the day on Saturday, but you can see the next storm approaching from the west. This is 6 o'clock Saturday evening, and that comes in for Saturday night into Sunday. A couple of things about this storm. It's likely going to be a bit bigger and a bit stronger. But the main question is, how far north does the heaviest precipitation get? The latest trends today shifted it maybe about 50 to 75 miles south, which would mean southern New England gets into the snow and southern Maine gets into the heavy snow too. We're just not quite sure how far north into the state the very heaviest snow will get. But right now for Maine and New Hampshire, it looks like it will begin around midnight in New Hampshire and western Maine Saturday night, and then in the early morning hours of Sunday through the rest of the state. This is 6 a.m. Sunday, snowing just about everywhere, and the bulk of the accumulation probably is during the first half of the day Sunday. This is now noontime. You can see still some moderate to perhaps heavy snow falling, and then during the afternoon this pulls away, and we'll taper this down to snow showers and flurries by Sunday evening. Might have Super Bowl plans. I don't think there will be much falling still, but there may be several inches of snow that we have to clean up from at that point. So here's a couple of computer models just to give you a general idea. This is the European model, and you can see these darker shades of blue would indicate 6 inches or more of snow, and it favors about the southern half of the state, and the American GFS model is actually a little bit farther south. I could see this coming back farther north, and we will have more specifics for you on this, I think, certainly by Thursday night. So that's kind of the biggest question over the next 24 hours. How far north will the 6+ inch totals get, and will we even get into maybe double digits over southern Maine? Just being this far out, it's too soon for specifics in that regard. It is an active pattern, though, with the jet stream guided right toward us. So once that Sunday storm goes by, looking way ahead into next week, there likely will be another system on Tuesday. We'll just have to see how far north it gets. And once that goes by, there could be another one toward the end of next week. So this is a very active weather pattern and one that will keep us on our toes around here. So Thursday morning is dry, but the snow moves in midday and early afternoon. Any travel during the afternoon and evening will be pretty tricky. Friday and Saturday will be dry. Next storm on deck for Saturday night into Sunday. The potential is there for several inches. Right now it looks like southern Maine probably gets the heaviest snow, but still being a few days away, that storm track can wobble a little bit. So we'll have more specifics on that for you as we get closer to it. That's our forecast for now, but you can always get updates on newscentermaine.com, on our newscasts, and streaming anytime on News Center Maine Plus.